We've been living too fast. How long could it last? Living too fast for my pay. Eating steaks and chops and hams, buttered beans and candied yams. Living too fast for my pay. There's prices high and wages low. That's the way the world will go. Should never happen this way. While these politicians spend every dime we could lend, living too fast for our pay. We're living too fast. How long could it last? Living too fast for my pay. We're eating steaks, chops, and hams, buttered beans, and candied yams. Don't eat me. Living too fast for my pay. I'd like to get me a patch of ground before depression rolls around. Start raising turnip greens and baling hay. Trade my car for a mule and plow. Trade my guitar for a cow. Just living downright for my pay. I've been living too fast. How long could it last? Living too fast for my pay. I'm eating steaks, chops, hams, buttered beans, and candied yams. Living too fast for my pay. Yes, I am. I'm going to change my ways tomorrow.
Hello, my name is Samat Abdurakib and I live in Portland. I would like to read a poem I wrote called What Good is a Hammer? And it's about looking for a woodpecker in the woods. What good is a hammer? We got so still in the woods together that afternoon, crossing the soggy plank that divided the murky, marshy water. I'd just delighted you with my quick scan spotting of that snake that slithered up from the water and into the moss. You already thought I was magic. Let me show you more. You, sentimental collector and cataloger of moments. I am learning. This is what you hold your breath for. Let me show you more. I hear it first because I am always ready. I rush to you, my sharp whispered listen, pushing you into silence and stillness. There it is, back in the trees, deep to the right. There. What is a woodpecker but a rapid staccato drumbeat, begging your heart to keep pace, I think, as we stand, my hands on your chest, on your heartbeat, my ear on your back, on your heartbeat. Now you hear it too, and everything about you becomes still and alert, the way I like it. We are together on this plank, possibility of a new moment, somewhere off there, if we are lucky. Yes, we will be lucky. We have been thus far in our own pasts and here in this present. So we set off, heads cocked, together, but not. It should be right there, but it's not. I am teaching you about their wiliness, about how they throw their voices and their sounds, how they rise above the congruent melodies and then drop below just as you approach. But what good is a hammer if it isn't precise? So we pause at a bend and then we turn left because we will be lucky. Coming to a certain tangle of half-dead leaning trees, we stop. It's right above us now, but also behind us and through us, filling up our bodies. You see her first. She is right in front of us. I will hold the awe, joy, surprise of your voice in my mind until I can't anymore. You have seen something for the first time. I know that feeling. It takes me a moment, but then, now, I am with you. She is perfect, working so hard on this dead tree, stripped of bark, thin, smooth, tan. She is symmetry and black and white. White dots on her collapsed wings, so close together they're like bars streaked across wings, folded across a patch of white I know is there on her back. Beak short head striped. I know that you are wondering, how can it be? How can a thing so small compel us forward from 60 yards away? But what good is a drumbeat if it doesn't compel? She flies off, breaking the spell, and you look at me for a beat, and I look away as we both chuckle awkwardly. What else is there to say now? As we tumble out of the woods into the small parking lot, you proudly tell a passerby that we've just gone birding. I smile. You haven't seen a thing yet. Let me show you. Thank you.
By doing it, it's worth it every year. Hi, I'm Barb Wood. I've lived in the West End of Portland for over 35 years, and I've been attending Portland Pride since it started back in the mid-'80s. As a matter of fact, I remember the first Pride March where we only could get a permit to walk on the sidewalk. We couldn't go in the street. We were very happy the following year when we did get a permit to go into the street, but guess what? We could only be on half the street. We couldn't take up the full street. Finally, we did get the full street. And after that, it was clear sailing. We added a small festival. The festival kept getting bigger and bigger. And now we have one of the biggest festivals in the state of Maine happening in Portland every June. Along the way, the women said, geez, this is great, but we need to do some things for our community. We need a space for the dykes. And the Dyke March was created. It happens on Friday night every year, the night before Portland Pride. And there is nothing more empowering to see a group of dykes marching down Congress Street.
The dike is strong, powerful, holding at bay that which can overcome, handling that which is harsh, undesired, unseen, dangerous, yet protecting, taking the brunt of what is there so they now may have the peace to pass through unharmed, through the generations, twisting gender, breaking bounds. As we stand strong, as we reclaim, and we know this kind of joy that rushes over, and this kind of knowing, secret knowing, and strength and connection and time, the rush comes like a raging bull, and she stands proud.
With another girl, playing with another heart, placing high stakes, making hearts ache. His love in 7 languages. Diamond night, ruby light, pie in the sky. Heaven help him when he falls. Diamond life, lover boy, you move in space with minimum waste and maximum joy. City lights and business nights, when you require streetcar desire for higher heights. No place for beginners, a sensitive heart. Sentiment is left to chance. No place to be ending, but somewhere to start. No need to ask, use a smooth operator. Smooth operator. Smooth operator. Smooth operator. Coast to coast, LA to Chicago, Western Maine. Across the north and south to Gilada, love for sale. Face to face, each classic case. We shadow box and double cross. We need the chase. A license to love, insurance to hold. Sentiment is left to chance. His eyes are like angels, but his heart is cold. No need to ask, he's a smooth operator. Smooth operator. Smooth operator. Smooth operator.
I started taking classes here at USM, and I took a Intro to Women's Studies class, and back then it was just Women's Studies. Gender hadn't showed up yet. And I took one class and signed up, that was going to be my major, and came into my consciousness as a feminist. It was actually in that community that I felt like I had to come out for the first time. I never really felt like I had to come out as a lesbian because I was never really in, but I had to come out in as a feminist, as a femme. And that really kind of took some doing to kind of claim your identity as a former cheerleader femme in a group during these years amongst lesbian feminists who had this idea that butches or femmes were, dangerous, historically outdated, sort of an embarrassment really to the community. It would be, you couldn't get away without having to have an argument at some point along the way if you were a femme wearing a skirt in lesbian feminist communities about having to explain why it was that you didn't feel like you were participating in your own oppression or objectification. So there really wasn't a lot of room around the edges of those lesbian feminist conversations in dyke bars or anywhere to explain that actually I really do just like different textiles, particularly because the way they can pick up the air when you're dancing on the dance floor. There wasn't really a lot of room for conversation around that. And I didn't really have a lot of opportunities to explain too that I really didn't think that butches were outdated or dangerous. I just thought they were hot. And that there was at least a couple of them that I wouldn't have any problem if they objectified me anytime they wanted. So there were at least like several decades during which there was maybe 4 or 5 of us that were wearing skirts out at dyke bars that were packed all the time, but there was very few that ever sort of took on the denim flannel wearing lesbian feminist, so you didn't have to explain yourself if you had a skirt. So. But now I'm just really happy to, even though we don't have sisters and Entre Nous is in the history and all the other great places that Portland has for a small town, we had a big queer culture, no doubt. That the good news is that even though we don't have dyke bar space, we do have plenty of queer culture, and queers don't have dress codes, and so that's really made I feel a lot more at home. And because of tonight, even though we may not have a dyke bar to have our conversations in about what our boundaries are and where we need to grow in the future, we can obviously still make magic because we're all here tonight.
Hello, everyone. So happy Dyke March Day. I'm here with Peter and Jamie, of course. And so I thought I would read a thing that I wrote about the wonderful history of the Dyke March. And that would be how I would participate this year. So the first marches took place in Canada. The very first one was in May of 1981 in Vancouver, British Columbia. And there were 200 women in attendance. And then the next one was held that fall in October, also in Vancouver. It was organized by a group called Lesbians Against the Right, and it was called the Dykes in the Street March. In the United States, the very first Dyke March was organized by the glorious and inimitable Lesbian Avengers. The New York chapter of the Lesbian Avengers was wonderfully successful in their political actions in the state. Enormous resources and energy were brought to the organization of the first Dyke March. An active women's network also participated in the march's organization. At the end of the march, a dozen women stood in front of the White House performing their fire-eating feat, chanting, "The fire will not consume us. We will take it and make it our own." The many women in attendance that day were then encouraged to bring the Dyke Marches home, to advance lesbian visibility, celebrate the power of queer women, and to fight the right wing all across the country. Today, Dyke Marches take place all over the globe, including here in our beloved Portland, Maine, where we love the Dyke Marches tremendously, and they're our favorite event of Pride.
Yay!